And Democrats in the House are taking a new approach to get President Trump out of the White House. Nearly 24 Democrats have signed on to a bill that would create a commission with the power to determine at any moment if President Trump or any future president is mentally or physically unfit for office. The legislation is inspired by the 25th Amendment to the Constitution, which establishes procedures in case the president or vice president cannot perform their duties. The bill was proposed in April, but support has grown in the last week after the president sent several controversial tweets aimed at cable news hosts and media networks. Joining us now to talk about this is the bill's sponsor, Maryland Democratic Congressman Jamie Raskin. So, Congressman, welcome to you. Start off by laying out what exactly your bill plans or proposes to do.
So, Katie, thank you for having me. The 25th Amendment sets forth procedures for presidential succession and also for dealing with the problem of presidential incapacity. It's been invoked 6 different times in different kinds of scenarios when, for example, President Reagan had surgery or President Bush had surgery and powers were temporarily surrendered to the vice president. Section 4 of the 25th Amendment says that the vice president of the United States can act with a majority of the cabinet to determine that there's a presidential incapacity, or the vice president can act with a majority of any body to be set up. Congress. And Congress never set up the body that's called for in the 25th Amendment. So this is us essentially following through on our constitutional obligation to set up a body in the event of a presidential disability, and that's something that would be determined by the body, but of course only with the Vice President of the United States. So we're talking about a body that is nonpartisan, that's independent, and that acts with the Vice President, who of course is reporting directly to the President. So it would be in the most extreme cases where there's a consensus that's developed the president is incapable of discharging the duties of office. So
according to your bill, this body includes 11 members appointed by the House and Senate leaders. It also includes 3 political people, like former presidents, vice presidents, senior government officials, 4 psychiatrists, 4 physicians, and that Congress would need to sign off on all members. Do you believe that this has a snowball's chance and you-know-what of getting passed?
Oh, well, of course it does, because the body is contemplated by the Constitution in the 25th Amendment. It was adopted 50 years ago. We're in the 50th anniversary of this provision in the Constitution. And it's, you know, as I said, it's been used multiple times. And so this simply follows through on our constitutional responsibility.
I hear
in the
you,
event of incapacity.
but this has so far only been signed on, and correct me if I'm wrong, by Democrats. Democrats
Correct.
Don't control Congress. They don't control the Senate. They don't control the House. They don't control the White House. So, yeah. I mean, without any Republican support, do you think that this is a good use of time right now?
Well, you know, things in Congress do take time to happen, and it's been, you know, 50 years that the 25th Amendment has been in place. But the body itself would be nonpartisan. It would only be activated upon bipartisan, bicameral action by Congress. So there's nothing for anybody to be afraid of except for a presidential incapacity, and that's what the 25th Amendment was all about. It was adopted after assassination of President Kennedy, and of course we've had multiple assassination attempts take place in our history. We've had lots of presidents incapacitated by different kinds of illnesses, physical and mental, and so on. And so we need to be prepared.
Do you believe that this bill would end up resulting in the removal of President Trump?
I've got no idea, and it's not my call, and it's really not my interest. What we have is a constitutional responsibility to discharge here, which is to set up the body that's called for in the 25th Amendment. And so
got it.
I just don't know.
So my question to you is, Democrats are losing governorships. They're losing state legislatures. They've lost all the special elections, or at least 4 of the 5 special elections this far. They don't control the House. They don't control the Senate. They don't control the presidency. Is this basically giving the sense that this is an anti-Trump, this president bill, and not something where the Democrats are saying, here is what we believe in, here is what we are going to do for the American people? Are you risking just giving more fodder to those who say that, you know, the deep state or Congress is doing anything they can to make sure that President Trump doesn't succeed? What would you say to those who might raise that criticism?
You know, I haven't heard that from any anybody except on the media. Of course, the Democrats are the party that built Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, and we're moving forward to try to expand health coverage to reduce prescription drug prices. And it's the Republicans that want to throw 22 million people off their health care, and that's President Trump's agenda and program. So this is no fetish with us. It's a constitutional responsibility that we've got to execute, but we're trying to move forward on the real mandates of the American people. And we want to expand health coverage, and we want to build the infrastructure and invest in the infrastructure. We want real tax justice and tax plan. We're not getting any agenda from the president, and as you correctly note, they've got control of the House, the Senate, the White House, but there's no agenda that's happening there. So, you know, this is part of a broad picture. We need every tool in our toolkit on the table in order to make progress for the American people right now.
Maryland Congressman Jamie Raskin, Democratic member of the House.